Mr. President, there has been a long discussion about how long you will stay and when you will organize elections. How long will the transition last? Is it today? Do you have an answer to this? Or do you think it is not a priority? For you, how long will Captain Ibrahim Traore be in charge before organizing elections to step down?
I was going to ask you a question in return before answering you.
I'm not here to answer questions.
It's a debate, it's nice. If today, in 6 months, we decided to abandon the people, you, as a very objective man, aware of our situation, what would you say? What would your comment be?
Honestly, I prefer to stick to that, even though you know my true thoughts.
All right. Since we've been here, we haven't taken a single day off. The whole exec...
But when you say that, politicians say, this is our job, since there are those who do it. They do their job. We want to return to democracy. We want to go back to parliament with people who are elected. We want to let the people speak. Are we staying like this or setting up a new model? They learned here. We don't want them learning elsewhere and applying it here.
To put them on the right track. They learned their profession. This profession is... We don't want people to learn this profession elsewhere and come apply it here. We want to create a model. Because the way things are done here is in fact not the right way.
For you, sir, President, there's no question of talking about organization, about elections and transition.
Yes, we're going to organize the local elections right now.
So we need to reset everything.
No. Aside from the system that's in place, which needs to be reviewed, the elections, they concern all of Burkina Faso. Do you think they are ready today to go to Soleil, to Falangonto, to campaign like... But they are Burkina-based. They must definitely vote.
First, we need to get the wire through.
There needs to be a minimum level of security so that if there's a campaign, people can go everywhere in Burkina, explain their ideas to the Burkinabe people, and the people will choose, because it's no longer about distributing goods. There will be reforms on the Electoral Code. It's over, that's it. If you get caught up in this, you will be disqualified. Well, I'm not going to get ahead of Iran in the water, but I can tell you that there are reforms coming. This way of doing things, of buying people's consciences, is over. Our mission is to awaken people's consciousness so that they never accept this again. If you think you can govern the country, you need to explain your political program. What are you going to do? And maybe after a while, the people will evaluate whether you should continue your term or not. In short, we won't say everything, but there will be reforms in the electoral system. And to participate in the elections, all Burkinabés must vote.
Mr. President, aren't you afraid for yourself?
Afraid?
We lived through the period of Thomas Sankara. We know how it ended.
Yes, you're right. And that's the question everyone is asking. It's the fear of the Burkinabe people. When they think about it, they're always afraid for me. Personally, I'm not afraid. But we've analyzed the past. In some aspects, maybe President Thomas Sankara made mistakes. When he said, for example, well, friendship isn't betrayed.
Not.
Friendship, it's not up to us to betray friendship. Ultimately, it's up to them to decide whether or not to betray. I think that this sentence prevailed.
For you, he should have been on the offensive.
We will not make the same mistakes again, that's for sure.
Mr. President, when we see all of this, with all the logistics you're talking about, with the Russians being brought in to inform, as you mentioned, your troops, that's a lot of money. Can the economy, the Kinabe, hold up for a long time with that?
Very good question. That's a lot of money. That's why I say our countries are not poor. There has been misgovernance. There is theft, the plundering of our resources. That's it. That's what it's about. I'll give an example. Today there is the Patriotic Support Fund. The populations contribute. And we mainly support the volunteers for the defense of the homeland with that. But what about the rest of the army that we are equipping? All these resources that we are acquiring. That's it. That's governance, like finances. There are resources. We have potential. But if it's poorly managed, if you take the oil sector, you know that the state subsidizes oil, petroleum products, the fuels, the diesel, so that the Borg didn't have it cheaper. In 2022, for example, the sovereigns were around 400, almost 500 billion at dumb, 5 something. The state is making 500 billion from the lighthouses in 2023.
We're at less than 100 billion in subsidies, which means you've saved 400 billion.
How do you explain that when someone is running for elections? Especially in Africa, here. It's like a business. It's the norm here. They distribute tickets so that we vote for them. It's an investment. And as soon as he arrives, he has to pay. To reimburse. That's not the case with us, indeed. Everything is focused on economy and the equipment. The Russians arrived in Burkina when? It's the last time that instructors came, because they have to come to train the military on equipment. And it's with all the countries. It's not just Russians. When you sign a contract to acquire equipment, you sign the contract with the training. There are plenty of Turks here. Why don't they talk about it?
But are they on the ground or not?
The Russians are on the ground to... No. There are no Russians on the ground to fight. These are things that are developed. It's in people's minds. But if there's a need, they will come to the ground. I can assure you that.
If there's a need, you don't forbid it.
No.
They're not on the ground.
No, for now, we fight alone.
What are you giving the Russians very specifically for them to be there? Are they taking minerals? How do you pay them? Are you selling off a portion of the territory? What's the deal? We know that there is no friendship between states. It's always about interests. Everyone comes for their own interests. So today, there's a fear among a number of people that we've just swapped one master for another. Well, I know you a little bit to know that you're not about replacing one master with another.
If that were the deal, to really swap one master for another, we'd rather die. Because when we say the homeland or death, it makes perfect sense. No, it's just the media, a lie again. And unfortunately, we even saw heads of state who fell for it, who went on to tell the lie. So-called that we gave mines to the Russians, to our southern party. That's completely false.
Nothing has been given to the Russians.
Completely false.
Even at a mine.
Why give anything? If the Russians want a mine, we have the mining code. They come to integrate into it. We give them the permit, they pay the taxes, they do everything they need to do, just like everyone else.
But what are you paying with? Russians. They're not coming for your measures. For governance?
We managed to acquire the equipment. It's not for our pretty eyes, as you say, that we're given things. We pay. And with Russia, there's no equipment that we want to pay for with them. They don't sell, others putting restrictions on us.
They tell you you can't buy this type of... Of course, the Russians sell you everything you want.
Everything you want. Until the moment I'm talking to you, we're blocked from getting plane licenses. There are types of we never sell. There are many countries, the Russians, the Chinese, the Turks, the Koreans, and so on. There are no restrictions. With Iran, everything we want, they will sell to us. Let's clarify, if we can pay, we pay. But with these states that were supposedly friends, there are restrictions, and some have even come to tell us that they can't sell us anything. Who is the state?
I want to make you do it.
But we might have the duty to pick up stones, maybe even in the case where it is. Everything that the state doesn't sell us, that's their principle.